welcome to Better with Art. I'm Melinda, and I'm here to encourage you to reclaim your creativity and establish a healthy habit of creative self-care with one small art prompt each week that can be done in an art journal or on paper if you don't have one. If you don't have one and are ready to get started with one, my top recommendation is in the description. Last week I got back into expressing emotion in our art. And if you missed that, you may look at this and think that is not art. But I expressed myself in color and line. And the more important part was the act, not how it looked at the end. Art journaling is a great way to process, express, exert some control over the dark thoughts, the difficult thoughts, the complicated thoughts. It doesn't have to look pretty. So last week I ended up kind of scribbling my personal experience of depression and the hopelessness of suicidal depression. I started out underneath with some of the colors of life and how the darkness just overtakes it all. It's impossible to believe that light will shine again, that things will get better, that I would get better. Despair is a terrible place to be. And grief is hard. But I don't believe it's a good idea to just express ourselves in that way without turning it over and giving ourselves the more realistic outlook. I mean, yeah, when I'm depressed or have been falling into the worst of it, the dark thoughts seem so much more rational because there are a lot of hard things in the world. But there is also hope, there is light, there is beauty. And even when you can't believe it, it's there. I also mentioned last week that we would be moving on to cover a new difficult emotion and its sort of antidote. And I can come back and use this blank page later, but I've decided that instead of completely turning over the darkness to the light, the despair and grief and sadness to the light and color of hope, that I'll let the next two more speak to each other. This week, as I mentioned last week, is going to be fear and anxiety, and something that's a good antidote for it. I don't know how you will want to depict your fear and anxiety. To me, sometimes it is like an electrical shock, sort of burning. Sometimes there's that tunnel vision where it's like my ability to focus is just all compacted into one little area. I lose track of where my limbs are, that I'm attached to them at all. It can make things very difficult to function. And yeah, be overwhelming. So again, this is not beautiful art. It doesn't need to be. It's about the process I'm working through as opposed to what it's going to look like in the end. Sometimes it can be nauseating. Well, that's a little too pretty for nausea. I do love these markers. They are the Amazon Basics version of Sharpies, if you will. I can put a link in the description, but basically, when there's a situation that I'm afraid, I'm overwhelmed. And I have come a long way when it comes to my experience of anxiety, but so many things are more difficult for me than I often think they should be. I'm a 50-year-old woman. I will be 51 next month, and there are some things that I just really dread having to do, that I avoid doing, that I lose sleep over when I know they're coming up. And you know what? That does make everything less bright and cheerful. It dulls things. It makes it difficult to enjoy things because I'm so nervous. So anxiety does take things away from me. There are some things I avoid, but it can also limit my ability to enjoy things, including sometimes a decent night of sleep. I hate that fast heart racing, waking up in the night all out of sorts, or the inability to fall asleep over situations that aren't as threatening as my autonomic nervous system wants to believe at the moment. So yeah, there wasn't much thought going into this, and that is actually a rather good way to sum up how anxiety can be, because although I think about it a lot and it spins and spins and spins, I can't really think clearly about all the other things, or even the situation that's causing me the anxiety. And sometimes there really is nothing particular going on. I'm just anxious. However, if I choose to look at things from a different perspective, if I choose to approach them differently, with curiosity, it can alter my perspective. If we go into things that may make us feel intimidated with an air of, what can I learn here? What is there here that's interesting? Who are these other people around me? Might they also be struggling more than I would give them credit for? I don't know if that's the best term for that, but I mean, sometimes we misjudge people's comfort in situations, their opinion of themselves. We sometimes get so caught up in our own inadequacies that we fail to recognize when others are also struggling. Sometimes taking the time to look around for someone else who may be experiencing that anxiety we are feeling or have felt in the past can be very helpful to make a situation easier for ourselves. As you may have noticed, I decided not to use any other supplies besides my markers, and I'm not really sure what I want here, but one thing I really enjoy are single line drawings. I was just kind of looking around to see if I had within arm's reach a narrower pen and black, but we'll go with this. If you want to change your perspective on something that is difficult for you to go into, I suggest thinking about something you'd like to learn about it or investigate. For me, a good antidote for anxiety is curiosity. And yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a flower, and yeah, I know it's a goofy looking flower, and usually even my single line drawings look a little more. Anyway, I'm critiquing my work, which is the exact opposite of what I should be doing now and what I tell you to do. So here's the thing. If I can encourage myself to be legitimately curious about things, not just look at new situations with overwhelm, if I can be curious about the situations themselves, and be mindful of being aware of others who may be struggling, things are so much easier. And if I have to go somewhere new and I have to drive, I prepare myself. I check things on Google Maps. I figure out not just where I need to drive and what type of roads and streets I have to drive in and how many turns and things like that, but I also turn on Street View so I can see where is parking, things like that. Taking some time to learn more about what we're going into can be helpful. But yeah, I really find that being willing to accept that there's value in all the things I need to do, and there are things to learn and interesting people, which can be a hard one for me. People can be hard, can't they? But if you are struggling with fear, with anxiety, I encourage you to open yourself up to the opportunity. Curiosity can be to changing your perspective and giving you a reason to anticipate instead of just dread. Some of these colors are a lot more vivid than my typical choices, and that's okay. Whatever you have going on in your life and whatever messages you may be receiving about yourself and your value and what you're capable of, you need to hear this. You are worthy, and you're capable of more than you realize. You have value, and the world is a better place because you are in it. Own that, my friend, and be curious about the ways you are uniquely designed to make this world better. I will be back next week with another small art prompt. In the meantime, take some time to express your difficulty taking on certain things, your fear of particular things or future possibilities, your anxiety, again, over specifics or that just happens. And give yourself the gift of curiosity to help short circuit it, to help you see beyond it and explore the world more as it is than your sympathetic nervous system tries to protect you from perceived rather than actual danger from. Give me a thumbs up if you plan to try this useful little exercise of giving some form to the fear and anxiety and seeing it contained on a page. And however you end up perceiving your sense of curiosity and wonder over all of the many wonderful things in the world. Subscribe if you found value, as well as Better with Art. I am currently doing a weekly series with daily shorts for the 100-day project of 100 collage papers. So I'm having a lot of fun, and maybe you can find some arty inspiration there too. Whatever else, take time for art. It is not a waste of time.